Well, hello, my name is Ted Hayes, and I'm a co-founder of Pythia Cybersecurity. And today we're here with Brendan Hemingway.
Hi, I'm Brendan Hemingway. I'm also a co-founder of Pythia Cyber.
So, what we wanted to talk about, and there are many things to talk about with cybersecurity. Some of them are about the role, some of them are about cybersecurity in general, forward thinking about artificial intelligence, so on. But ultimately, cybersecurity is about the security of your systems. And when I think of cybersecurity, Brendan, sometimes I just think that it's a software upgrade, and then I'm okay. Other people might think that it's kind of like a movie where there's something out of place on the keyboard, and you could know it wasn't there. How do you think about it? How would you know that there's been an incident?
Well, that's an excellent question, one I get asked all the time. A lot of people assume that you would know. The short answer is that of the three most common kinds of incident, two of them are incredibly obvious, and one of them is incredibly hard to detect. Heavy-duty professionals take weeks to detect it. So, unfortunately, in our world, you only have these two extremes. Anyone can tell, and it's a lot of work to tell.
Okay, so what are those examples of the two more obvious ones?
Well, the one that for some reason people seem really interested in more, I don't understand why it's more exciting than the others, is ransomware, a ransomware attack. And a ransomware attack if you know, I always use if you talk about an analogy to physical security, a ransomware attack is someone changing the locks on your office and then selling you the new keys. And of course, you can tell that's going on because it's a sales pitch and they need you to know it's happening and they need you to know why it's happening. So, yes, that's super obvious. And the second one kind of attack that's very obvious is a denial of service attack. Often not a criminal enterprise, more mischief or a prank or a sign of displeasure. And then to take the physical security analogy. It's like someone coming to your office and just stacking every available space with mannequins. They look like people, they're not really people. They're making fake requests on your systems to bog them down. And again, the point is the disruption and the inconvenience. And if it's not really obvious, then they're not doing their job. So a denial of service attack is also super obvious. It's a network intrusion. It's an intruder that's very hard to detect. And an intruder roaming around your network, if you're going to take the physical security analogy, is someone propping open a back door or finding a broken latch on a window and coming into your offices when you're not there. And if they wander around and they don't make a mess and they don't steal stuff, then it's going to take you a while to figure that out, that they're there.
So the first two that you mentioned, and I really like how you framed this. The first one of the ransomware attack, you're supposed to notice it. In fact, it wouldn't even be an attack if you didn't know it, because the whole point is for you to pay ransom. The one with denial of service attack is pretty obvious because you're finding your system is bogged down and it's meant for you to pay attention to. So both of them are out there and in your face. But the third one doesn't sound like that. So, given that it's meant to be stealthy, meant to avoid detection, and takes a lot of effort, how would you describe how you go about finding these?
Well, the best way to determine that you have an intrusion is to have a handle on who uses your network, why they use it, and when. And then you look for anomalies. And there are two kinds of anomalies generally that you look for, either unexpected abnormal behavior, such as someone's PC sending data to China at 3 in the morning. That's not right. It's hard to imagine a use case where someone would do that. Or, and this is often a little harder to detect, normal behavior, a valid user logging in using their account, but at a time that's not expected. So they work on the day shift and suddenly they're logged in all night. They work on the night shift and they're logged in 4 times at night. And no one needs to be logged into the system 4 times generally. So this is the collecting trash, dusting your books, and sweeping the floor of cybersecurity. You look through the logs, and unfortunately, you're going to have a sense of what your organization does and when. It's very hard to write a magic piece of software that says, this is strange, because the definition of normal varies from place to place, and you have to check. And it's, the physical equivalent of going to the sign-in guest register at the desk, taking your finger and running down the pages to make sure that the people you expect to be there are there. And yes, I can tell you, having been a doorman and a security guard, you have to know that it's strange for the water guy who usually comes at 6 in the morning on Monday to be there at 4 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. You have to know that that's weird. But the looking at the logs, the understanding how your business works is boring, so it doesn't get to be in movies or TV shows.
Mhm. So when we think about intrusions and intrusion level attacks, are these um, are does someone use this approach because they want to have a long-term intrusion into your system? What could they possibly be looking for that takes so long? Why would they do that?
Well, I've been told that I can't go into super detail on this because people will die of boredom. So let's talk a bit in generalities. There are people, archetypically the bored high school kid, who just want to have done it. And they want to do it a lot, and they want to wander around, and they want to show their friends, and they want to look at your data and just luxuriate in knowing things they're not supposed to know. And there's no reason for them to stop. Why would they stop doing it? It's fun. There are people who are trying to engage in escalation attacks where you come in as a low level uh, account and you try to find ways to escalate your privilege so that you can eventually become more and more privileged on a system. And that takes a long time. You have to sit there and watch what people do and have to figure. So that's a problem that they want, that from their perspective, it may take weeks to find all the things they need to find to hoover up all the user IDs that they need to hoover up. And the final, most unpleasant version is they want your information in in service of attacks on organizations that are not you. They may want your uh, client's information so that they can go after your client's identities.
Hmm.
So they have no, so for as long as the tap is open, they will take the data. They have no reason, a lot of these people have no reason to stop. So some people roaming around, some people are taking their time to get to build the pathway that they need to do whatever it is they want to do. And some people are just going to stay there for as long as you let them. There's squirrels in the attic. They've set up a home. Why would they leave?
Hmm. So this sounds a whole lot like um, sometimes when you're on social media and people approach you, or there's something funny about a request you get to connect with someone. Is this what we're talking about? That type of attack?
Indirectly. So the sort of social engineering you're talking about, and we probably need to do a video on social engineering, requires some background to be credible. If people don't know your name or the town you live in or your approximate age, and they send you a text, my name's Brendan, I get text saying, "Hey, Marcello, we should go see Edna." My name's not Marcello, and I don't know anyone named Edna. But if you've done enough work and you find out what town I'm in and what my wife's name is and what my kid's name is, you get my birth date so you have my age, then you can craft a vastly superior social engineering attack. And the people you took the data from who made this social engineering attack successful will never know that they played a part in completely hosing you. And that's another reason not to do this, because if it turns out that you were responsible for getting a bunch of your clients' identities stolen, that's a reputational risk that very few of us can survive.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Right. So at a broader level, the intrusion problem is that you may be creating issues for other people and not even realizing it. Those people, I guess, could be your clients, could be your payees, could be your financiers, could be anybody.
That's true. And here's to me the closer on this deal. Even if you, the organization, feel that it is very, very unlikely you'll be intruded upon, and I don't understand why so many people have this confidence. I don't understand what it's based on. But but okay, let's say you have this assumption. Here's to me the value proposition that is nearly irresistible. The work you would do to detect and prevent or stop such an intrusion is work you probably should be doing anyway as part of running your business and running your systems. You probably should be making sure that people are not sharing passwords, whether they're doing it maliciously or not. You probably should make sure that you change your shared administrative passwords frequently, and not just by the calendar, but by making sure that they're not being misused. A lot of these boring household tasks also, frankly, aren't hard and don't take that long unless you have an enormously active network. Having somebody spend 15 to 20 minutes a morning reviewing yesterday's network activity isn't that big a burden. It's the things we talked about before. It's creating an environment where somebody thinks it's his or her job, other people care whether they do it or not, and they feel that they're committed to doing it because they think it's a worthwhile thing to do. And even if you never catch a bored kid or a Russian hacker or a Colombian drug lord in your system, I can assure you, you will catch things that either are odd, people forgetting to log out, people sharing passwords, systems that you thought were off or no one was using suddenly are using. And one of the biggest benefits you will have is avoiding the horrible queasy feeling you have when you think, can I shut this off? Does anybody use it? And then you shut it off and discover that people use it once a month or once a quarter or once a year. And let me tell you, when you discover that you need a system for a financial report once a year and it's been shut off for 9 months and you can't bring it back up, then you'll really wish you'd spent some time making sure that nobody ever used it. So it's not that big a deal. It has a decent dividend, and it may not be sexy that you're going up against the Chinese military hackers, but knowing who uses your systems and why will pay dividends even if you never get to star in a movie about hackers.
Wow, great advice. I learned a lot. Thank you very much. If you'd like to continue this conversation, ask more questions, check in about some of the concepts that we've discussed today, contact us at pythiacyber.com. There's a link where you can send us emails and continue the conversation that makes the most value to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.